Hello and welcome to this tutorial of Advanced Python. So in this tutorial I'm going to display of how you can make a digital assistant really simple in Python. Now of course you need to take into consideration that speech recognition module does not work for Python 3.7, at least not so far. There's wheels for it, but it doesn't really work, at least not for me. So what I'm gonna do is basically show you how to make a text version which you can easily convert to speech recognition version once the speech recognition comes to function. Right, so first thing you gotta do is you gotta check for voices. If you're on Windows, you wanna check for what voices do you have built in into Windows operating system for voice recognition, because it uses PyTTSX3 module. And this is the commands that you can use to display the voices that you have built into your system. So it's going to say hello world in all the different voices that you have. So let's run this.
Hello world.
And this gives us, so far it gave us David and Hazel. I don't know why it's not saying hello world. Anyway, so I'm gonna use Hazel for this because Hazel sounds the best so far. Let me just stop it. I don't know why it bugged out. Anyway, so I'm gonna edit this. I'm gonna go here, and now I'm gonna explain everything step by step to you. Don't worry. With this, and then put it here. Right. So now we built into Hazel. Okay. So now here's the program. So first thing you gotta do is pip install Wolfram Alpha, which is a module that you you actually have to register to it as well in order to get the API key. And the API key actually looks something like this. And you're gonna have to register to get the API key. It's free, don't worry, and you can have 1,000 requests or like questions per month. So that's pretty good for test something, and then you can upgrade, of course, if you want for money, but that's not what I would do because I'm poor. Okay, so next thing is PyTTSX3, and this is the module that's gonna do all the talking. And now, if you remember from this previous file, we actually imported here as well in order to check our different types of speech. So the first line of code is actually saying, well, except for the imports, is actually saying engine equals PyTTSX initializer. So what this does is initializes the engine, and we're just gonna call it engine. And then now we're gonna call set property. So we're gonna set property of the engine to 180, which is a speed. It's a rate of the talk. You can improve this. You can like slow it down, make it talk faster and stuff like that. English voice is basically just the voice that we want to use. In this case, it's Hazel 11.0. And set property voice, we need to set that voice right under the voice. Then we have with open API key, which you don't have to do. Basically, what you have to do is just this one right here, and K would be your API key. I just did this so you don't see my API key. Now I defined main, and I went with try because I'm going to do exceptions. So right here we have two exceptions. Now the reference error exception is not really necessary, you don't really need it, but keyboard interrupt is, because once you press Ctrl and C to stop the program, it's not gonna like give you a bug, it's just gonna say, okay, I'm stopping, and it's gonna shut up the engine like at that precise moment, which is also useful because sometimes it just talks and you don't want it to talk that much. And here's where we are calling main. Alright, so let me explain main. So how it goes is it says try, and then it says the main thing is all right, let's say what can I help you with, and then we make it run and wait. And keep in mind that you have to put this every time, both if you're gonna do any text, like if you're gonna make the engine say anything. So if you're gonna do engine say, you have to do engine run and wait later. And then it says this, and then we ask them for an input. We call it query, and we said ask me anything. And so this is where user will input their stuff, and then this stuff will get processed. I'll show you how. Of course, after this, it just says thinking, and the engine says the same thing. So anyways, so where does the query go? Here's where. First, it goes through all of these. It says if the query is open browser, then it's going to open browser. But if it's not any of those, which is, there's not much of them, as you can see, there's like 4 of them. You can add as much as you want. But if it's not, then it sends it to Wolfram Alpha. How? Well, it says client.query is query. So this is what refers to Wolfram Alpha. And then what it tries to do is actually, it tries to give you the results, and it will give you the results successfully. So here's how. Key equals next res.results.text, and then print key. And this will print the results, and this will say the results. So in just this lines of code, you can make the whole engine answer most of your questions you can ask Wolfram Alpha. And that's great, that's amazing. Okay, then we have the exceptions for this thing, which is if the queries or questions for Wolfram Alpha are not understandable for Wolfram Alpha or for this, not defined, it's going to do this. You don't have to write all of that. I think you just have to do an exception or attribute error, and it doesn't matter. I just wrote all of them. And what it says is engine say try repeating that or modify your query. So this pretty much says this doesn't work. And here's where the magic happens, right? So Wolfram Alpha has a lot of stuff, and it's really a great thing. You can do a lot of stuff. I think even Siri is connected to Wolfram Alpha, or Google, whatever it's called. I'm not sure. One of them is. Anyway, so Wolfram Alpha is amazing, but their API for users like me is not that great when it comes to some stuff. One of the stuff is actually if you write in. I noticed this. Because some questions have to be really formed a certain way in order to be answered correctly, which is not the same as on the web page. Because on the web page you have assumptions, and the web page assumes that the question is like, if you write Brad Pitt, it's gonna assume that you think of a person on the web page, but not in the API. So in the API you have to write in Wikipedia Brad Pitt. You know, because by the way, you don't have to import the Wikipedia module. I don't know why people keep doing this. You don't have to import that. It's if you write to Wolfram Alpha Wikipedia and a person, it's gonna give it data about person or a thing, right? Anyway, so what else you want to do? Well, you also want to make a by command. So let's ELIF query equals equals. Let's do equals equals. I don't want to start with no by. No, query equals equals by print exiting, and engine say I don't know, we can say I will miss you, goodbye. Engine run and wait, return, I don't know, none, I don't know, exiting. Let's just, why don't we just do this instead, right? So what this will do is it will run the engine and it'll say goodbye if you type in by. And this one will do say and then a space. So basically when you type in say and space and then whatever you want to say, so say apples, well, you're gonna put a space in between, right? So here's how it works. Say and space and then say everything else that is written. So basically what it does is ignores say and space and then says what you want it to say. And here's how. It's really simple. Like the for and double dots and the brackets, and then all you have to do is print saying that and then engine say. And then engine run and wait, of course. Right. There we go. And then this one does what's my IP. Like this is another example where you can use. It literally just connects to the API of the IPify. This is a simple web page where you can get your IP, and then it's going to say your IP is that. All right, this one is for the Steam. Now, you can't really open Steam if you don't have it in the path, which I don't. So you would have to add the exe, or for that matter, LNK, if I'm not wrong, for a shortcut, and it will open it if it's in the same directory. And the browser is added the path, so it will start vivaldi.exe, so that will work. I don't know why this doesn't. I mean, it's not in path, but shouldn't it work because it's in terminal? I don't know. You guys can answer me if anyone of you knows. So this is simple. Let me just show you how that works. It's really not that much lines. I think it's 90 lines, 80 something, right? And if you add this, it's gonna be like 100 lines. It's really not a big deal because mostly it's just text. Like, think about it. Right. So let's run that. Let me show you.
What can I help you with?
All right, so now it works. You can input all your stuff that you want. Ask me anything. So let's ask it Wikipedia Elon Musk.
Thinking.
And it's going to say thinking. And now it gave me the information. Elon Reeve Musk, born June 28th. But of course, as I said, my recorder is not going to allow it to read it. So now you'll see how it's going to read everything. And then it's just going to stop. It's going to like come back to that. And that's actually it. So here's the code. Feel free to use it. I'll make sure that I copy the whole code to my website, and you're gonna try it out for yourself. Now keep in mind that I recorded with Camtasia, so I can't really display how it works. I did run it, and I could manage to do that, but every time I do anything with a voice, it just stops me. So let me just display it to you in a different way. Let's try not to use voice. I mean, it stops it because of my recording software, because it's really bad. Let me just try to open the browser without using the engine.run. So as you can see, I'm just using the OS and open browser. The engine.run, like it will work. It will work, but it's using your voice thing, and for some reason, like now you can hear it. Now it works, but like if I run any complex command, it's not gonna work. Open browser. So open browser, and it's now thinking. There we go. Open the browser. Cool. So well, let's not bother with that right now. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and make sure you have a good day.